Hey everyone, it's John Trent, editor-in-chief at Banning Comics, and I am joined by my co-host Spencer Bakuli. How are you doing today?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing well. Just finished up watching episode 6, Fight Domon, Earth is the Ring. So I'm excited to talk about that with you. I do see we have Lopter, Demon King of Inferno.
Oh, hey, Lopter.
Thanks for joining us, Lopter. We appreciate it. We want to get your feedback on this episode as well, so feel free to make comments in the chat there. So let's get into this. I don't know. How do you want to start with it?
I guess we could just start with a little recap of what happened.
Sure, yeah. So we will be getting into spoilers in this review. We pretty much get into spoilers in all of our reviews. So you are warned if you don't want spoilers. But yeah, this show's been it's been out since '95, I believe. So
yeah,
we got Garth joining us as well. Yeah, we were a little late. Sorry about that. That was my fault. I was filling up my water bottle. Which I have right here now, so I'm good to go. So I won't have dry mouth. But yeah, so if you're unfamiliar with Mobile Fighter G Gundam, basically what's happening is there's a Gundam fight every 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah, every 4 years that determines who kind of like rules the universe, basically. And you have fighters from all of these different space colonies that create Gundam, send them down to Earth to fight, and Earth is kind of like the battlefield. And there are some rules of honor, but there's also, this year, there's a huge curveball, and we kind of figure out what that curveball is in this episode. So the previous 5 episodes, we've been following Domon Kashu, the Gundam fighter from Neo Japan, as he's been on the search for a mysterious man. And he's been showing us pictures on. He's fought America, China, Italy, Russia, France, and I feel like I'm missing one.
Cuba got beaten by France.
Yeah, Cuba was there, but we didn't actually go to Cuba. But yeah, so we've been to a bunch of countries around the world. And then this one, you think that we're returning to Japan. I was a little confused by it. That part was a little confusing to me, but we returned to Japan, but then we also returned to the actual space colony of Neo Japan.
I thought the actually being in Japan was a hallucination for Domon. I thought they were on the colony the entire time.
I wasn't sure. I thought that too, but then you also get that scene where like Rain like runs away, and in the and you can see that he's like hallucinating, and it looks like he's in Kyoto. So I don't know. He shows up in Kyoto in the beginning too.
Yeah, and you're right. There's that scene where like Rain runs away from her dad, and it seems like they're there, like actually physically having lunch. I don't know. It is you're right. It is confusing.
Yeah. So let's kind of just dive into this episode. So the gist of it is Domon Kashu he returns to Neo Japan. It appears he arrives in Kyoto. What ends up happening is he's kidnapped by his own government, the colony of Neo Japan. Somehow, I assume he's transported to the colony. He definitely is at the colony at one point. So he's taken to the colony. He's run through a simulation. Where you think that he doesn't know that he's being run through a simulation, where he's being shown the events that lead to his mother's death, his father's being shamed and then frozen in a cryogenic tube. Cryo sleep. And then we learn about who this mysterious man is.
Finally.
Which, spoilers, it's his brother. But then we find out that the whole like hallucination is like just the government's like report, like it's based off the government reports, and Domon wasn't actually there, so they're just trying to put him in there to like generate
like
emotion. They're basically trying to generate this emotion so that powers up the Shining Gundam, and we finally get Shining Gundam's like new Parasite, which we've been talking about, like using some new moves. We do get a new move, which is pretty cool. We get a lot of new stuff. We get takes on a whole new design as well, which is really cool. There's a lot of like unanswered questions that we had. I really enjoyed this episode. Because it kind of moved the overarching story forward like a ton. There's like a ton of information. I took a ton of notes because there's just like we just got so much information. But then there was all like it wasn't just done with exposition. It was done through the story, like the emotions of it. We get like we were talking about the scene with Rain is very emotional. You get the emotion from Domon as well at the end there when he like rages out, like goes Super Saiyan. With
exactly
Shining Gundam. So we get this backstory on this Devil Gundam, which has been created by, at least this is what the government is telling us. So it feels like we're getting a lot of information, but at the same time, I'm like, is this really true? They're saying it's based off reports. Like, I'm not convinced that this is the full story. I think there's like a lot going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of deception going on. But so if we want to take it at face value, the Devil Gundam is the strongest Gundam. It's created by Domon's brother Kyoji and his father.
And his dad, yeah.
And what ends up happening is like these government people come in. They're like, you're going to use the Devil Gundam to like destroy the Earth Federation and like the space colonies and like the world as we know it, so you can like rule over it. His dad is like, what are you talking about? This is absurd. And then Kyoji's like, ha ha ha, I am an evil villain.
Yeah, right?
And he like snaps his fingers. The Devil Gundam comes alive, wastes the government agents. And then the Domon and Kyoji's mom is like in shock, can't believe that his son has done this. Runs over to him to like beg for him to beg for forgiveness.
Yeah,
stop him. She gets shot in the back by a government agent, and then he's like, the Devil Gundam picks him up, and he's like, "I'm out, peace, bro." And then he like flies into the Earth at like some kind of like super crazy speed, and it destroys the Devil Gundam. Yeah. But Kyoji's still alive, and then the Devil Gundam, it's revealed that it has it's got these 3 abilities. I wrote them down. I can't read my own handwriting. Self-recovery, self-evolve, and something else. But basically it can like rebuild itself.
Self-evolution or the self-replication?
Self-multiply, that's it. Yeah, self-replication. Yeah, self-multiply it. Yeah, I didn't cross my T very well there. But yeah, so it's got these 3 abilities, and we also got to see a little bit of how powerful it was. We saw like, I don't know, dozens of these mobile suits just get like wasted when the Devil Gundam like rose up out of this like volcano or something, the lake or something like that, and like blast.
That was what we saw in the first episode too. Yeah, like at the very beginning,
it shoots one blast and it like wrecks all of them, and they're just poof, they're all done. But we find out that I wrote his name down here because I don't think they mentioned it in the episode. But Alubi Ishikawa, the guy with the mask that resembles Char, he was actually a survivor. He's apparently a survivor of this attack on the Devil Gundam. So we do find out like the whole mission of Domon is basically to bring his brother to justice. Because he shamed his father, and he blames his brother for getting his mother killed. And so he's been tasked with killing his brother, destroying the Devil Gundam, because basically Neo Japan wants to cover up the fact that this Devil Gundam exists, and they don't want to be blamed for it because it would like basically ruin the whole like kind of world order. And then you also have this politician. What was his name? Karato, I think. And he's also like, he doesn't believe in Domon, so he's like changes this test, and he wants to see if Domon will actually kill his brother. So we get like that's how we get the fight at the end, where it's like they use this other Gundam. I don't know if it's a Gundam, but they use a mobile suit called.
Mobile suit.
What is it called? What is that?
The Phantoma?
Yeah, the Phantoma, which like I guess has some kind of like illusion, or I was really confused by that. I think the illusion
I
was
wasn't
like
sure what that was either. They were just I thought maybe it was part of the drugs, but then they were saying that last time the Kerato looked like the Devil Gundam. It was really confusing right there.
Yeah.
So the Phantoma, not Kerato.
Yeah, the Phantoma looks like this Devil Gundam, and they use it to try and fight Domon to test him. And this guy like has no faith. The Kerato guy has no faith in Domon, and he's actually trying to get a replacement because he mentions like how Domon failed to execute the other Gundams, Chibity, Georges Dassin, the the China guy, and then the guy last one, the Bull Gundam, as well.
I forget his name. Yeah,
I have his name on. I got his name here, but I don't have. I'd have to go flip through some pages to find it. The Russian guy, and I think valid criticism. He didn't defeat them. A lot of them were draws, but he did beat Chibity though. I thought so. But he didn't like But Chibity is like can fight again. It was weird. I don't know. Yeah. So there's still some like weird rules. I guess
they just want Domon to straight up like kill them. Essentially, that's what they seem upset about. That he didn't just kill them all when he beat them.
Right. Yeah. I definitely. Yeah. That's how. I think you're right on that. But we also like, dude. Again, there's more information here. So we got this Master Asia guy who was like Domon's mentor, who was the King of Hearts before Domon took the title, and then he like disappears. Like that's what I'm talking about. Like this guy just it's his mentor just like disappears, and then his brother is like doing stuff with this Devil Gun. I'm like, okay, there's more than what they're telling us here that's going on. So I really like that. So like they gave us answers to the mystery, but then like gave us like even more mysteries to like what is going on, like to figure out. And I really like that a lot. I like the Devil Gundam design. It was shaped like a serpent, very devilish. So that was very. I like that a lot.
Very different from a lot of Gundams we've seen before because of that snake body. It moves all fluidly.
Yeah, it's a very different type of Gundam, and I think they did. Obviously, that's done on purpose because they talk about that, how this was like a special Gundam that they built in pretty much in secret. It looks like, and his obviously goal is to like basically destroy everyone, or like that's what they say his goal is. But yeah, I really like that design. I like the movements with the animation and stuff. We didn't get a lot of it because I guess it was more the Phantoma looking like the Devil Gundam when we did get to see it. But when we actually saw that clip of him like wasting all those other mobile suits, I mean, it was pretty demonic looking coming up out of the river, and it was like almost like fire coming up, like it was coming up out of hell. Like the imagery was like very devilish, and I like that a lot. We talked about the emotions of this episode, and I think that was really pinpointed with Rain and Domon at the end. Rain during the testing. I like that a lot. I really like. I have to say, I really like this episode a lot. Yeah, very good episode. There was we got so much. We got all these answers. We got more mystery. We got the emotional aspects of the characters. We got character development. Yeah. We got to look at like some of these side characters too. A little bit of mystery about them. A little bit more information about them with the Doctor, and then Ilubi. I'm probably saying his name wrong. But yeah. But so, what did you like the most about this episode?
For me, what I liked the most about this episode was honestly the end when Domon Kasshu went Super Saiyan, when the Shining Gundam turned gold, because we got a lot of
super
new
mode.
Animation. Yeah, super mode.
They call it Shining Gundam Super Mode. Literally Super Saiyan.
He even gets the spiky hair when his crest opens up.
And he's gold. Like literally gold.
Yeah, completely gold.
Oh, yeah, it's literally Super Saiyan, but with Gundams. Yeah.
So great. And then we get a lot of cool animation that's new, because there's all that posing and the quick lashes around, and then we actually get a new special move at the end that he uses to win instead of just the typical shining finger.
Yeah, shining finger sword.
Yeah.
Shining Finger sword. And he like and there's a sword. He's like Shining Finger sword. And then he like shoots up and he's like, and then
he just lashes at him.
Yeah, it was pretty badass. We've been critical in the past couple episodes. I feel like of the Gundam fights because the first one. I think we've been critical of them a lot because the first one was so good in that pilot episode.
Yeah, I mean the series opened up with probably the second best Gundam fight.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of, I wouldn't say it goes downhill, but it never quite hits that level again.
Yeah, I mean there were some that did go downhill for sure.
Oh, yeah.
But this one was fantastic Gundam fight at the end, really good payoff. Although you could argue like, oh, he's not really fighting the Devil Gundam, but I was fine with that. But it pushed him to the limits. And that's what I like to see. But what was interesting that what pushed him to the limit wasn't his like so. This is what I thought was really interesting. There's like a contrast between what Luby and Rain's father, Dr. Mikamura, were saying was like his he's the only one who can do it because of his anger to seek revenge against his brother, and that's why he's the one who can pilot the Shining Gundam because he can activate the Shining Gundam super mode with his rage and anger. But to me, what I saw, it wasn't his anger and revenge that activated it. It was actually his desire almost, you could argue it was his anger, but I don't think it was for revenge against his brother. It was his anger at the fact that Rain was about to be in danger. She was in danger. Right, he was angry about her being in danger, and it was like that this anger that wanted to like protect her, and he was angry that she was about to like be attacked by this mobile suit, and that's what I thought felt like activated the super mode. But then you get that them thinking that he needs to be revenged. So I thought that was a really interesting contrast, and shows kind of where Domon is at and where Rain are compared to these kind of like government spooks and scientists.
Yeah, you can definitely see that contrast between, oh, we just need him to do business. He just needs to win, make him as angry as possible. And that's what's going to cause him to push himself. And that's like the whole reason behind the test in the beginning was to play with his emotions and see how he would react. But then, like you said, because Domon's going for Rain instead of just revenge, it gives him sort of that anime, I'm fighting for my friends element that is like the secret X factor that the government doesn't understand.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly what it is. It's a secret X factor. I also, just kind of on this point, like, what's interesting is that Ilubi and, what is his name? Mikamura don't understand that the secret X factor with the relationship with Domon and Rain, but at the same point, Karato doesn't understand Luby and Mikamura's like saying that Domon is the only one that can be that can pilot the Shining Gundam. So there was like layers of people not understanding the people that they're actually like working closely with to try and supposedly try and stop this Devil Gundam. So I thought that was like really well done, that you have those like different layers, and it's almost kind of like, that these misunderstandings are going to like come back into play later on as we obviously like explore further of the mysteries that were kind of laid out in this one. But who the Devil Gundam, Kyoji, what exactly are his real motivations? Why do they want to like I don't know. To me, when I'm seeing a government wanting to destroy this like Devil Gundam, I don't know. They're trying to cover it up. There's something else going on. Like it's definitely like a major conspiracy.
Absolutely, especially considering that this first time we ever really interact with them, they're drugging Domon Kashu and literally putting him in a false illusion. So how are we supposed to trust them after that? Yeah.
So like that's what's like really interesting. It's the episode tries to make you want to trust these people, I feel, a little bit in the dialogues and stuff. But then at the same time, like you said, they've kidnapped him and they're the ones showing us what we want, what they want us to believe. Like, and they're trying to show Domon what he wants to do. And they also like admit that like Domon wasn't actually there. We've recreated all this and stuck him in there so we get peak emotional anger from him. So that's I think the episode from like front to end, beginning to end, was just really well written. Gave us answers, expanded on the mystery. Just lots of like different layers within the character interactions, within like this overall government conspiracy. But do we even like, who is this guy? Like in the beginning, we don't even get any answers of like who this guy is that he's in Kyoto with.
The monk
who drugs him. Who's that guy? He's like trusted.
He's just a monk. I was confused too. I thought for some reason he was back in China because that's the last time we ever saw any monks.
Right, but they said Kyoto. They specifically mentioned Kyoto.
Oh, they did? Okay, I must have missed
that. I wrote that down because they're talking about, look how Kyoto has been destroyed. It's like everywhere else. And we kind of it gets back to where we were at the beginning, where like Earth has been like wrecked.
Right. It's
in ruin because of all these Gundam fights or whatever happened 60 years ago with everyone leaving to abandon it. Which I'm still like, we still don't really know why they like all decided to abandon Earth. Something, I think that, I don't know. I feel like
I wonder if it has something to do with the Devil Gundam landing. Yeah,
maybe 60 years ago, the Devil Gundam landing. I don't know.
Probably, but yeah, they haven't talked about it specifically.
Yeah. So yeah, we get the. I really liked in the simulation. You could just see how much. So we were talking about how Domon wants to protect Rain, and you saw that as well with just how much he cares for his family. Even in the simulation, he was coming back to them and was just excited to be with them.
Yeah, like talking about his mom's cooking and
you got that Goku scene where it's like, yeah, you got it, like total like it's just a trope. You got to have the food eating scene.
Yeah, you got to have the main hero be a bottomless pit.
Yeah, and he was just like shoving it all down into his face. Even though it's like simple things that it's just fun because it makes him more human. And then just seeing how he had respect for his brother, he honored his like father and mother, like he just genuinely enjoyed being with them. And it was kind of weird, obviously, that we find out that he was being put in the simulation. But like Rain's interest was kind of weird there, and then she walks out, which he kind of just ignores because he knows they're in the simulation and she's not really kind of part of it. That was like the weird part. Could have improved that a little bit, I think. What else here do I have in my notes? So one of the things I thought was kind of weird was that we get information that his dad is like put on cryo sleep, but they don't really say like whether or not if Domon succeeds, if it like lets his father come out of sleep or anything. I thought that was interesting. Maybe it's just something we're supposed to assume why he's taking this mission, and it's not just to like. Again, I think that just goes back to like the idea that he's just not all about revenge,
right?
So you said that your favorite part was the Gundam fight. I think I totally agree with that. Yeah. That was my favorite part too. It was a really good payoff. I loved like the transformation. You were talking about the animation where he does like the kicks and the fights and stuff, and then you see the Shining Gundam doing that too. I love that stuff. That's one of the things I've praised on the previous episodes. I keep giving that praise because I like that a lot because I just think that's just really cool. What was your like least favorite part?
My least favorite part was probably, I don't know. There's so much good stuff in it. It's hard for me to nail one thing that was super disappointing. If I had to say, maybe it's our confusion about where he was the entire time. Like how long he was in Kyoto, how did he get to the colony, that kind of stuff. Like who was Lemong.
Yeah, I don't think that's like really like a bad thing. It's just more of like it could have been tight. Like the script could have been tighter on that. A little bit better explanation on that.
Yeah.
I totally agree. I think that was probably the weakest part of this episode. Another strong point that I really liked was the at the end he's just like he actually like addresses Kirito directly and is like, "Don't ever like test me like this again."
Yeah.
And he's kind of like asserting his own agency, and he's like, "You people like think you're manipulating me, but you're really not. Like I'm doing this myself, and don't test me again."
Because I'll take you out if you get in my way.
Yeah, and I like that a lot. It was it reminded so like again with kind of the devil imagery, it reminded me of like Jesus like telling Satan like be gone, like do not test me again. That's kind of what
desert,
yeah, in the desert. So that's kind of where I reminded me of, because he was like the way he looked, the tone that he gave it in, it was just like don't test me again.
And then he just like left them to stew in their disappointment and their failure.
Yeah. One of the things I also found interesting, it was a little tiny comment that Luby gave to Dr. Mikamura, and he was talking about Rain, and it was just like, we're putting your daughter through so much sadness, and there's more to come, and that just that is reflective of like kind of what the Gundam series gives you. It gives you heartbreak, sadness. People, there are like real consequences. People are going to suffer, and it's kind of foreshadowing that suffering that we're expecting. Because like right now we haven't really seen a lot of that suffering. We saw it in the first episode. They kind of hint at it with like how the cities are destroyed. We saw it again in like the China episode, where the gang's kind of ruling and there's lots of suffering there. But in France, there didn't feel like there was a lot of suffering. You have like a palace and stuff. In America, it didn't feel like suffering that much. I mean, it definitely felt like they weren't as well off as what they could have been.
Yeah.
But they had that like, we're going to get through this. We're going to fight through it. Like, we're Americans. We can get through it. It doesn't matter like what.
The can-do attitude.
Yeah. Whereas like in Italy, you've had that suffering, and then that was brought to the forefront with the police officer who like was like, "I hate you, Gundam fighters. You just come and destroy us, and you kill all of us and everything." Yeah, Ironcaster says, "Gundam, come for the robots, stay for the existential dread." Exactly.
Pretty much.
That is a great summary right there.
That's a tagline,
of Gundam, and yeah, I think it's right. I mean, you come for the great Gundam fights, but then you do stay for the existential dread and just seeing how the characters react to these.
I mean, and we start seeing that here. If you just think about the fact that like they forced Domon Kashu to watch his mom's death when he wasn't even there in the first place.
Yeah,
they gave him a front row seat. That's pretty messed up.
Yeah, it's super messed up. But that's like what you expect from a Gundam series. And again, that's just he's like. And I think that's what was so powerful about this episode, is that you get that emotion from Rain, just like, why are you doing this to my friend, this guy that I really like? I can't, like, my own dad is doing this to me, and she's like disgusted by it. And I love that, seeing that disgust, and she was like, stop this, like, don't stop doing this. And she had to like physically remove herself from the situation because she was so disgusted by it.
Yeah, which is going to be interesting, because it kind of seems like Rain is working for or with the government in some capacity. You know, like they assigned her to be the mechanic for Domon, so maybe we'll get a battle over loyalties later on.
Oh, it's coming. I mean, the fact that they're saying like we're putting your daughter through sadness, I think they might even see it coming. But then, so like you get that emotion from Rain, and then she's just distraught, and then you get the anger from Domon at the end. Like he's just pure pure anger, and I loved seeing that, and the animation with that, and the facial expressions from even with Rain being distraught, and then her while like having to move out. It was just really well choreographed in that part too. I love the animation and stuff like that. You felt it. Like they're animated characters, but you felt that emotion in the art style. Ironcaster is recommending the original Gundam as well. Yeah, obviously recommend the original Mobile Suit Gundam for sure. I've got the DVD over there, I think. By the TV. I think that's pretty much. I mean, is there anything else you wanted to address? I mean, we've kind of covered everything.
Just that it was cool to also see more of the classic sort of Gundam designs. We saw a bunch of them in the very beginning when they were fighting the Devil Gundam, and then the Phantoma is really reminiscent of the Big Zams from the original series. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I love that we're getting to see other types of mobile suits. So we get these huge Gundams, obviously, that are part of the Gundam fight, but it's like there are other mobile suits out there that aren't Gundams too. So that's also interesting. And I wanted to point out one other thing I hadn't mentioned. So we do know who is ruling during this Gundam fight. It's Neo Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Neo Hong Kong rules Earth right now. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I think there's just like a one line about that. But again, that's what I was talking about earlier. There's like so much information in this episode. But it's all kind of done as part of the story, which I thought it did well on.
It's definitely show, don't tell.
Yeah, it's very show. But yeah, so we'll see what happens there with Neo Hong Kong. I feel like that will come back to be a bigger role too, because the Neo Japan seems threatened by them because obviously they're in charge right now, and that's why they're sending Domon to like cover up this Devil Gundam that has been created. So yeah, I don't. Any last words?
Just that I love the Super Saiyan mode, and I know we're going to see more of it, so I can't wait to see more of it. And I genuinely don't know where we're going next. It's kind of like
going to Mexico.
The first chapter. I meant story-wise. It's like we're closing the arc of the series. Yeah.
So we don't know what. I mean, we kind of have an idea. He's still going to be trying to track down his brother. We assume to destroy this Devil Gundam or put a stop to him, or maybe capture his brother, reclaim the Devil Gundam, probably maybe for Neo Japan. I could see the Karato guy wanting to do that because he seems to be all about power and wanting to accumulate it for his like political aspirations. Because I think they were saying he wants to become the prime minister of Neo Japan and then eventually rule over everything by winning the Gundam fight. Which I feel like that needs to be explained a little bit, the politics of the Gundam fight.
Yeah.
So if Domon wins the Gundam fight, does that just mean the government of Neo Japan like becomes the ruler, or is it like Domon becomes like the supreme emperor or something like that, and like Neo Japan becomes supremacy? It seems like because they said Neo Hong Kong rules Earth, it seems like the government of that space colony is the one who kind of takes control.
And that makes a lot of sense with what they said earlier in the episode with Domon can be replaced if he doesn't want to play ball with us, we can replace him. So it seems like whoever the winner is doesn't really matter.
And then that kind of goes back to what we saw with Chibity and the CIA spooks who were trying to kill Domon to try and like put him out, and like they seem to be the ones like behind Chibity's power. And they were the ones trying to push him. So yeah, I think it seems to be like a lot of like, especially Chibity, he's like, and even Domon appears they're kind of pawns at this point right now, at least for their government to try and win the Gundam fight. So next week we did get a little bit of a preview in this episode. Next week is titled "Prepare to Fight, Desperate Fugitive." And it looks like we're going to Mexico.
Mexico.
The thumbnail on Crunchyroll for this episode is Rain in a nice blue bikini. So it looks like we might get a little bit of a vacation time, maybe. But I don't think it's going to be. Going to hit the beaches there in Mexico. But I don't think they're going to be vacationing for very long. Because we get to see this this Mexican Gundam show up.
Yeah,
he's got a big sombrero, and I'm just like, oh yeah, it just looks cool. I'm like, ready for it.
Tequila Gundam.
Is that what he's called? The Tequila
that's
Gundam?
his name. It's the Tequila Gundam.
Oh yeah, he looks like he's ready to party. That's for sure. So I'm looking forward to it. I do think this was the best episode I think so far. There could have been a little bit. Ironcaster is calling him the best Gundam, and Ironcaster is agreeing with our speculation as well. Japan would rule. Domon represents Japan in the fight, so there. I think that makes sense. Now I kind of lost track what I was saying. Ironcaster totally got me there.
That's our game.
But no, I appreciate the comments, Ironcaster. Appreciate everyone joining us. I see Don is in the chat here as well. Garth was with us, and Ironcaster and Lopter. Again, appreciate all of you guys joining in and watching us. And hope you continue watching with us. We'll be watching episode 7, Prepare to Fight Desperate Fugitive, next week, where we get to meet the Tequila Gundam. So that'll be a lot of fun. So thank you all. We do this around 4 to 4:30. Between 4 and 4:30 we start, usually every Friday. And then if you want to watch us not talk about Gundam, we have our Bounding Live, where we kind of talk about the latest headlines.
News of the week. Fun stuff.
Yeah, news of the week. That's always fun. And that's on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern. And then we're going to be starting our Trek Tuesdays next week. And we're going to be starting with we're kind of doing a review of the first episode of Deep Space Nine. So Trek Tuesdays are going to be kind of where we just talk about Trek, but we're going to be focusing on Deep Space Nine for this first Trek Tuesday episode. So that should be a lot of fun too. And I think we're going to be doing some more stuff. I'm going to talk with Spencer here. I know we're going to be doing My Hero Academia. We're going to be reviewing that when it comes out. But I think we might also do some God of High School here that's coming up on Crunchyroll too. We'll talk about that. So, and Spencer obviously he's got his Tower of God reviews up. Mm-hmm. I think there's one episode left.
One episode left in the season.
Yeah, so I got to get caught up on that. I'm only halfway through. I've fallen behind. I got to catch up. But,
that's good though, because now you can just binge watch it instead of waiting every week.
yeah. I don't know. I kind of like I like the weekly thing, and so I'm looking forward to that with God of High School. Because we'll talk about that and see if we'll do that. So thank you all again for joining us, and we will see you next week.
Take it easy, everybody.